in game theory, the side that forces itself to have more constraints will actually win in any
Mhm.
contest.
Yeah.
So when you voluntarily increase the number of constraints or you voluntarily constrain yourself, you actually win the contest. Now, let me tell you the story of Hernan Cortez, right? Hernan Cortez came to the Mexican, what's now known as modern day Mexico. He and his warriors, like they came in ships from Spain to land on modern day Mexico back in 1400s. And Hernan Cortez realized that they were outnumbered around 4-1 or something like that. In the sense, the Mexican local army was 4 times bigger than Hernan Cortez's warriors who had come down from Spain. So these guys came in a boat, came all the way, they land on hostile land, which is now modern day Mexico, 600-700 years ago, probably, I don't remember, 1100 or 1400, something like that. I'll do the research on that. And what happened was when he landed, he realized because we're outnumbered, what do we do? Well, he goes and burns his boats.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, hey, let's keep our boats alive so we can run away. He says, shit, we're outnumbered. We're going to burn our boats because that's going to be the advantage, because now there's only one way out, and which is to win. There's
Yep.
no other way. There's no other possibility. There's no way out. As soon as you give people ways out, as soon as you make it easy for them, people will take it easy. People will take the easy way. It's true for human beings. That's what Hernan
Yeah.
Cortez did. He literally said, hey, burn the boats. As soon as he landed and he realized the army, like the opponents were so big, he said, burn our boats. Either we win or we perish. There's no running away. There's no going back. And when you now imagine what happens when you are playing with that kind of force, when you're playing with that kind of mental mental force, what do you do to the opposing side? The opposing side can still run away into the jungles and forests and hide and do all those things because they have their whole land. But here you are, you're like, either we kill, either we win or we perish. There's nothing else we have. We're gonna fight to death. Well, that's when you win. These obstacles, these challenges are supposed, this is what, this is the game of life. This is the ultimate game of life in some ways. This is where the big boys come to play.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's very true. And imagine also your opponents when they see you burning the boats. Now they know you're not giving up. They know there's no chance of scaring you. There's no chance of you being a coward. You only have one option, and I think that's also sends a very clear message. But we have to do that ourselves. We have to be willing to burn the boat. That's that whole idea we've been talking about. Perhaps the most powerful concept in the universe is fully committing to things, right? This idea that like once you fully commit to things, and that's, I mean, I think that's been the key for most of the things that I've succeeded at. It's like, even, I'll compare it to the training I'm doing now, running for that, training for that 50-mile race. There's no question that I'm going to run the 50-mile race. Like, it's like, if I put it up in the air to say, am I going to do this or not? Then every day I would have to look at what I'm supposed to run, and I would make a decision whether or not, or someday when I'm running, an 18-mile run, 15 miles into it, I might be like, man, I'm really not feeling good today. I think I'm just going to call this run. I'm just too tired. But if I've fully committed 100%, I've burned the boats, then there's no choice. I'm going to do it. So it's going to happen. And I don't make that choice anymore. And I think that's one of the key things. We can kind of use that as a hack to develop our mental toughness, because it makes us tougher than we appear. It's like boosting our toughness, because we don't have to use as much willpower. Instead, we have no choice. So.
Yeah, willpower is the construct of the conscious mind. But as soon as you get into extreme commitment where it's a complete do or die situation, that is when your subconscious takes over, and it will do anything in its power, everything in its power to sustain you. So the subconscious mind is way more powerful than the willpower, like your conscious mind ever will be. And that's where, the concept of commitment is so critical. Let me give you the story. Like, we're talking about layoffs, we're talking about people losing jobs and all those things. That's going to happen. I'm going to go back to 2004. This is my first job out of grad school in Austin, Texas. I go into my office on a nice, beautiful August summer morning, and my director calls me into his office and he's like, "Hey, we're sorry, we have to lay you off." I'm like, "What? Shit, I'm gonna get laid off. Oh no." And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I got laid off, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really think much about it until I walk out of the office and I tell one of my friends, he's like, "Oh no, man, this sucks because now you have 30 days to find a job, find another engineering job, or you will have to leave the country because you're an H-1B visa." I'm like, "Oh man, that sucks. 30 days? That sounds really small. That sounds really short. What do I do?" Right? So a bunch of us got laid off at the same time. A lot of my American friends and friends from all over the world, really. There was probably around 60, 70 of us who got laid off. Now, there were a few of us who were immigrants who had this fire, who had H-1B visa, and they're like, okay, either, I need to find a job. We need to find a job, and there's no other way out. Now, everyone took it differently, right? When I heard about it, I felt like a failure for a few hours. I went home and I was really down on myself. And then one of my friends who was also an H-1B, he's like, "Oh, are you selling your car? Are you like trying to, find this or that?" I'm like, "Hell no. I am just looking for a job." He's like, "What do you mean? You only have 30 days. I'm like, "So what? I'm giving it everything I got. And if that fails, so be it. But I ain't selling my car and selling houses and putting like I ain't playing the easy game here. Like I ain't playing the cop out here. I'm going all in. I'm going guns blazing. I'm putting it all on the line here." Right. So and then there's another American friend of mine, or not another, like there's an American friend of mine. He's calling me. He's like, "Hey man, let's go grab some coffee. Let's talk about this and that." I'm like, "No, no, no. I have no time for that. I have time to go write my resume. I have a 30-day clock here. I have to write my resume, and tomorrow I'm going to start applying." He's like, "What do you mean tomorrow you're going to start applying?" I'm like, "I don't have time." He's like, "No, man, you got to make your resume really nice and neat and at least give it a
Yeah.
week to really like." I'm like, "No, dude, you have the time. I don't." Right? There's no like 37 days just tidying up my resume. I'm applying tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I start applying for jobs, and like I'm shaking it up. I'm getting interviews, and all of this shit is going down, right? 30 days later, here's the funny thing, man. I got 3 job offers. One from Nokia in San Diego, one from another company in Austin, and one from another company in Bay Area. These 2 companies are called Harmonic, Life Size. So 3 different offers in software. Now, here's is the amazing part. In 30 days, because I had a gun to my head and I had no way out, like I was not going to just get kicked out. That was unceremonious. That's like disrespectful. Like if I'm going to go, I'm going to go on my own accord, not like get kicked out. That just sounds horrible, right?
Right.
That sounds like it's a gun to your, to me, that's an ultimate gun to my head when someone says, "Hey man, find a job or get the hell out." Like, come on, right?
Right.
But here's the other side of this equation. I had some immigrant friends who literally started selling their houses and cars. And because that's the way they approached it, they literally did not get a job and they had to go back. And they are the ones who are like later saying, "Oh my God, this is horrible. This 30-day, 60-day rule, whatever, it's stupid." I'm like, "It's not. It's the best thing. It'll toughen you up. It'll make you the man that you've never wanted to become."
Yeah.
Another side of this equation, I had my American friends. What did they do? Well, they had unemployment. They had, benefits, unemployment benefits for 6 months. They didn't have to hustle to find jobs. They didn't have to work hard to find these jobs. What happened to them? They took 4 months, 5 months, 6 months to find a damn job, man. Why?
Yeah.
Because there were options available to them. I've been there, and I've been there 3 different times, not once, not twice, 3 different times. 30 days, find a job, leave the country. Every time, gun to my head. One time I found 3 job offers. The next time I found 5 job offers. It's not such a big deal when the gun is really to your head and the boats are burned and you have no option. You really have to get down to business and you find ways, man. That's when people become entrepreneurial. That people get business ideas when things are really hard, not when things are like handed out on a silver platter. People don't really become creative when things are given so easily. When things are hard is when people do their very best. And that's why the commitment, like I was committed to the cause. I was committed to getting a damn job in 30 days.
Yeah.
But when you make it easy for people, well, there is no commitment.